What the hell is she talking about? My hands start shaking, and I put the glass down on the nearest shelf before it slips from my fingers. I spent 30 years helping Werner build his company. I did the accounting, conducted client meetings, developed strategies, but of course Sophia doesn't know that, or she doesn't care. Let's raise a glass, Sophia suddenly calls out loudly across the room, and the conversations fall silent. My heart is pounding against my ribs. To Max, my wonderful husband, who is so generous that he even takes in his mother, even though it's not easy living with 3 generations under one roof.
She laughs, that bright, fake laugh I know so well. The guests raise their glasses, some laughing along, others looking down in shock. I look for Max in the crowd. He's standing next to Sophia, his arm around her, and he's smiling. He's simply smiling. Something in my chest breaks, but it doesn't feel like a sorrow. It feels like ice shattering, clear, sharp, final. To Max, the guests repeat in unison, and the glasses clink again. I step out from the shadow of the pillar. My legs carry me across the room as if by themselves, directly towards Sophia. The conversations around us fade, and I feel the eyes on me. Sophia turns around, her eyes widening slightly before she flashes her radiant smile. Renate, there you are. We didn't even see you. Oh, I saw everything, I say. And my voice is so calm that I'm surprised myself and heard. Her smile flickers, but she keeps it up. I don't know. What you're talking about. Yes, you know exactly. I look her straight in the eyes. You just declared in front of all these people that I'm nothing without this family, that I wouldn't survive a single year alone. The silence in the room is now absolute. Someone puts down a glass, and the clink echoes through the room like a gunshot. Max takes a step forward. Mom, please not here. Not now. Not here. Not now. I laugh. But it sounds strange to my own ears. But it was okay for Sophia to humiliate me right here, right now, in front of all your friends. I turn to my son, and for the first time since Werner's death, I really see him. This man with the tired eyes and the weak smile is no longer the boy I raised. You didn't say anything, Max. You just smiled. It was just a joke, Sophia murmurs, but her voice now has a sharp edge. You have to be able to laugh at yourself sometimes. A joke. I nod slowly. Thank you, Sophia, really. Thank you for this clarity. She blinks, confused. What? You just gave me the greatest gift. You showed me what you both really think of me. And you know what? You're right. Why should I wait a whole year to prove you wrong? I pull my gaze away from Sophia and look around at the group of guests. Some look away in shame, others stare at me open-mouthed. An older woman, Mrs. Hoffman from the neighborhood, gives me a barely perceptible nod. I'm leaving now, I say loudly and clearly. Not tomorrow, not next week, not now. Mom, don't be silly, says Max, and he sounds annoyed, not worried. Annoyed? Where are you going? It's already after 10. That's not your problem anymore, Max. I turn around and walk toward the stairs that lead to my room. My room in his house. Not much longer. Renate, wait. That's Sophia, and her voice now has a panicky tone. You don't have to do that. We can talk about it. I stop on the second step and look back over my shoulder. No, Sophia, we don't have to talk. You've already said enough. In my room, I close the door and lean against it. My hands tremble, still, but not out of fear. It's adrenaline. It's rage. It's something that feels like freedom. I pull my old suitcase out of the closet and start packing. My clothes, my toiletries, the framed photo of Werner and me on our 30th wedding anniversary. My fingers stroke his face in the picture. I should have done this months ago, shouldn't I? I whisper. You would have told me to stop belittling myself. A knock at the door. Mom, Max's voice. I'm not opening it. Go back to your guests, Max. Please, let's be reasonable. Reasonable. I throw open the door and soften. The sensible thing would have been to tell your wife to stop treating me like a parasite. The sensible thing would have been to defend myself. She didn't mean it. Yes, Max, she did, and you know it. I pull the suitcase behind me and walk past him. Downstairs, the guests have fallen silent. All eyes follow me as I walk to the front door. Sophia stands in the hallway, arms crossed, her face a mask of barely concealed anger. "You'll regret this," she says quietly, audible only to me. I stop and look at her. The only thing I regret is taking so long to leave. Then I open the door and step out into the cold April night. The door closes behind me, and I hear nothing but my own footsteps on the gravel path and the frantic pounding of my heart. I have no idea where I'm going. I haven't booked a hotel. I have no plan. But for the first time in 3 long years, I feel alive. The hotel room smells of disinfectant and stale smoke. I sit on the edge of the bed, still wearing my good dress from the party, staring at the opposite wall with its faded landscape. €40 a night. This is all I could afford when I stood at the reception desk at 10:30 a.m. The night clerk looked at me like I was one of those women who rents rooms by the hour, but what do I care what he thinks? I just left my whole life behind. My phone vibrates on the nightstand and my heart leaps. Maybe it's Max. Maybe he's calling to apologize. Maybe he finally understands what happened tonight. I reach for the phone and my stomach clenches when I see his name on the screen. But it's not a call, it's a message. My fingers tremble as I open it. "Mom, I think it's best if we both take some time off. Sophia and I spoke with our lawyer today. You should know that I've taken the necessary steps to remove you from my will and the deeds to the house. This is purely a precautionary measure for Sophia and me and our future family. I hope you understand. We wish you all the best, Max." I read the words a second time, a third time. "Spoke to our lawyer today." Today? That means this was planned before I even left the house. Maybe even before the party started. Sophia's public humiliation wasn't a slip-up. It wasn't a joke that got out of hand. It was intentional. They wanted to get rid of me, and they made a plan. My own son. The phone slips from my hands and lands with a dull thud on the worn carpet. I press my palms against my eyes and breathe through my mouth because my nose is clogged with tears I don't want to cry. Not now, not because of him. But they come anyway, hot and bitter, and I hate myself for it. How could I have been so blind? How could I have lived in this house for 3 years and not seen that my own son was treating me like a burden? Werner would never have allowed this. Never. My Werner would have confronted Max and told him that family is family no matter what. But Werner is dead. And I'm here in this dingy hotel room with a text message telling me I've officially been disinherited. I wipe away my tears and stand up. My legs feel shaky, but I walk over to the mirror above the small sink anyway. The woman staring back at me looks old, tired. Her mascara is smudged and her eyes are red, but there's something else in that face, something I haven't seen in a long time. Anger. Not the hot, explosive kind, but something cold, something clear, something that feels like determination. "You won't win, Max," I say to my reflection, and your voice sounds ragged. "Neither of you will win." I wash my face with cold water, put on my nightgown, and get into bed. Sleep doesn't come, but that doesn't matter. I lie in the darkness, and plan. The next morning, I'm sitting in a cafe 3 streets away from the hotel, drinking a coffee that's too bitter. In front of me lies my old notebook, which I dug out of my suitcase. It's full of names and numbers from the time when Werner and I ran the business. I haven't looked at this book for years, but now I flip through the pages and read the faded entries. Mr. Schmidt, Werner's former business partner, Gudrun Mir, our lawyer, Thomas Berger, the tax advisor who always helped us. These people valued Werner. Perhaps you remember me too. I dial Mr. Schmidt's number and my heart pounds as the phone rings. What if he doesn't remember? What if he hangs up? A deep voice answers Schmidt after the 3rd ring. "Mr. Schmidt, this is Renate Wagner, Werner Wagner's widow." A pause, then a surprised laugh. "Renate, my goodness, how long has that been? How are you?" I take a deep breath. Honestly, not a particularly good one, but I have a question. Do you remember the strategies I developed for customer loyalty, the concepts for restructuring the logistics department? Of course I remember. They were brilliant ideas. Werner always said they were the real brains behind the company. My throat tightens, but I force myself to continue. Do you think those skills would still be worth anything today? Another pause. Renate, are you looking for a job? More than that. I'm considering starting my own business. Management consultancy specifically for small and medium-sized businesses. Then let's talk. Can you come to my office tomorrow? I close my eyes and smile for the first time since the party. Yes, I can. The meeting with Mr. Schmidt is like a revelation. He sits in his large office in Dusseldorf, which smells of leather and coffee, and listens to me as I explain my ideas. I talk about increasing efficiency, employee motivation, digitalization for traditional companies. Things I've been thinking about for years while sitting in Max's house pretending I was just an old woman without a purpose. You need startup capital, Mr. Schmidt says when I'm finished, and contacts. I can provide both. I stare at you. Why would you do that? He leans back in his chair and gives me that knowing look. Werner wasn't just my business partner, he was my friend, and he would have wanted me to help them. Besides, he grins. I think this will be a good investment. 3 weeks later, I'm sitting in a small office I rented in a co-working space in Cologne. It's not much, just a desk, a chair, and a window overlooking the street, but it's mine. There's a sign on the wall. Silver Strategies Consulting. My phone rings and I answer. Silver Strategies, Renate Wagner. Ms. Wagner, this is Klaus Hartmann from Hartmann GmbH. Mr. Schmidt recommended you. We have a problem with our production chain and could use your expertise. I reach for my calendar and open a new page. Tell me more, Mr. Hartmann. As I leave the office that evening, my phone vibrates again. Another message from Max. Mom, did you get my last message? We should talk about how to handle your things. I delete the message without replying. He wants to talk, then he should wait. I just secured my first client, and Mr. Schmidt has named 3 other companies that are interested. I found an apartment, a small one-room apartment in Ehrenfeld. Nothing special, but it's mine. And for the first time since Werner's death, I don't feel like a burden. I feel like someone who has something to offer, like someone who's needed, like someone who's going to win. My phone vibrates while I'm standing in line at Rossmann, and I see a notification from my assistant, Kara. Ms. Wagner, you have to check this out. It's going viral. My heart does a strange leap. Viral. What the hell does she mean by that? I open the link she sent, and suddenly I see myself. No, not me. I see Sophia on the screen at Max's birthday party 6 months ago, raising her glass and saying in that sweet, venomous voice, "To Max, my wonderful husband, who is so generous he even takes in his mother, even though it's not easy living with 3 generations under one roof." The video has over 200,000 views. The comments scroll faster than I can read. What a horrible daughter-in-law. The poor woman, how humiliating. Who films something like that and only uploads it now? I lean against the shelf with the shampoo bottles because my legs suddenly go white. I am. Someone was there. Someone filmed it and posted it online. And now the whole world sees what Sophia did to me. My phone is ringing fine. Run. I'm picking it up. Did you see it? She asks without greeting. I'm seeing it right now. My voice sounds strangely calm. That's good, Renate. That's very good. Good, Rue. My worst moment is being watched by hundreds of thousands of people right now. No, Sophia's worst moment is being watched by hundreds of thousands of people. There's a difference. You're not the bad guy in this video. She is. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. She's right. Of course she's right. The video ends with the moment I stand up and walk towards Sophia, with dignity on my face as I tell her I'm leaving. I look strong. I look unbreakable. I have to hang up, I say to Gudrun. I have a meeting with the board of Berger Maschinenbau in an hour. Good luck. And Renat, enjoy this. You deserve it. The meeting with Berger Maschinenbau is going better than expected. They don't just want my advice on restructuring their sales department, they want me as a long-term partner. The contract you're presenting me with would secure my company for the next 3 years. When I get home that evening to my small apartment in Ehrenfeld, which doesn't look so empty anymore because I've hung pictures and bought plants, I sit on my sofa and watch the video again. This time I read the comments. My mother-in-law went through something similar. It breaks my heart. This woman deserves so much respect for how she reacted. Does anyone have an update? I hope she's doing well. I could write something. I could let people know I'm doing well, better than well. But it's not the right time yet. 3 weeks later, I'm standing backstage at the German Economic Summit in Frankfurt, trying to calm my heart. There are 500 people out there in the room, business leaders, investors, journalists, and in 10 minutes, I'm supposed to give a keynote speech about reinvention in old age. "You're almost up, Ms. Wagner," says the young woman with the headset. I nod and stroke my dress. It's new, a dark blue, elegant, but not over the top. I look like someone who knows what she's doing, like someone who's made it. And then I hear my name over the loudspeaker. Please join me in welcoming Renate Wagner, founder of Silberstrategien Beratung. The applause is polite, but not exuberant. You don't know my story yet. That will change. I step into the spotlight, and for a moment I'm dazzled. Then I see the faces in the audience, and my nervousness disappears. These are all just people who want to hear a story. 8 months ago, I begin, my voice carrying through the hall, I was standing in a cheap hotel room, wondering if I'd made a mistake. I had just left my son's home after my daughter-in-law humiliated me in front of all his guests. I'd received a message saying I'd been disinherited. I had 500 euros in my account and no idea what to do next. The silence in the room is absolute. But you know what I also had? I had 30 years of experience building a successful business. I had a network of people who knew and valued me, and I had something priceless. I had nothing left to lose. I see a woman in the third row nod, and that gives me strength. Today, months later, my company has 12 major clients, annual revenue in the 6-figure range, and I've hired 4 young consultants, all over 50, who wanted to return to work. We're not too old, we're not useless, we're valuable, and it's time we believe that ourselves. The applause that comes now isn't polite, it's loud, it's genuine, and as I walk off the stage, I see him, Maximum. He's standing at the edge of the hall in a suit that seems too big for him, and his eyes are red. Our eyes meet for a moment, and then he looks away. Later in the foyer, as I'm talking with investors and exchanging business cards, he approaches me. "Mom," he says quietly, his voice breaking. "Not here," I say, but my tone isn't harsh, just tired. "Can we talk? Please." I look at him, this man who was once my little boy, and I see the remorse in his face. But I also see the last 8 months, the sleepless nights, the tears, the hard work it took me to get back on my feet. "Maybe," I finally say, "but not today. Today belongs to me." 1 year after the celebration, I'm sitting in a ballroom at the Maritime Hotel in Bonn. My dress is black and falls perfectly. My hair is pinned up. Next to me sits Kara, who is now my business partner, and Mr. Schmidt, who smiles proudly like a father. And the award for entrepreneurial reinvention goes to Renate Wagner from Silberstrategien Beratung. The moderator's voice echoes through the hall. I stand up and my legs aren't shaking. My heart is racing, but it's a good race. I did it race. The applause is overwhelming. And as I step onto the stage and accept the glass trophy, I look into the crowd. There's Max in the 5th row. He's alone. No Sophia. The divorce was finalized 3 months ago. He applauds with tears in his eyes. And then 3 rows behind him, I see her, Sophia. She's wearing a cheap dress, and her hair is no longer perfectly styled. She looks smaller, more insignificant. She stares at me, and in her gaze is something that looks like hatred mixed with envy. But you know what? It doesn't affect me, not at all. I hold up the trophy and say into the microphone, this award belongs to every woman, every man who has ever thought it was too late for a new beginning. It's never too late. Believe in yourself, even if no one else does. The applause grows even louder, and as I walk off the stage, I know this is my victory. Not because Sophia has to watch, not because Max regrets what he did, but because I've proven to myself that I am more than what others think of me. I am Renata Wagner. I am 66 years old, and I'm just getting started.